So now we will discuss about muscles in front of thigh. So the remaining part in front of thigh muscles. So we have five muscles here: sartorius and four muscles of quadratus femoris. The quadratus femoris group has rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medius, and vastus intermedius. These four muscles and the sartorius. These muscles comes in the front of thigh. Other muscles like pectineus, psoas major, and iliacus, these muscles are also present in front of thigh, but only there is some part, that is ending part, is present in front of thigh. Like the base of femoral triangle, we already discussed, are formed by pectineus muscle, then psoas major, and then iliacus. These muscles are not originated in this front of thigh. Actually, these are the muscles of posterior abdominal wall. These muscles we will discuss in posterior abdominal wall. Here we will discuss only about sartorius and quadratus femoris muscles. So now, to understand about these muscles, we must know something about femur bone. Okay, so what about femur? We know about, let's suppose this is what we have is anterior view and this is we have posterior view. Just rapid revision: this head part, then what we have is neck, and then shaft. Okay, here greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, in between them what we have intratrochanteric line. Then this shaft part, upper end, shaft, and lower end. At the lower end what we have lateral condyle, medial condyle. Okay, so these things in anterior view we can have. In posterior view again, at the upper end what we have head, neck, this greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, shaft part. This in anterior view that was lateral condyle, medial condyle. Here what we have is medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. Let's suppose this one. In between them what we have, here we have popliteal surface. Then we have one crest like line here, that is called a linea aspera. Linea aspera is just a elevated ridge like portion or minor ridge like portion, when actually this is not a part of observation. When you will have femur in your hand, you will feel one ridge on the posterior aspect of femur, that is actually called as linea aspera. So here one line is there, that is called as linea aspera. So remember about linea aspera here, because we have one more important attachment about linea aspera that we will discuss. So make sure you know about linea aspera. Okay, here what we have, somewhere here we have gluteal tuberosity. Okay, at the upper end of femur we have gluteal tuberosity. So these things, if you know about femur bone, then you will understand these muscles very clearly. Okay, so let's start from quadratus group, quadratus femoris group. So in front of thigh, I told you we have muscles like sartorius and quadratus femoris group. Actually this name is given to a group of four muscles. There are rectus femoris, then what we have vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, and vastus intermedius. These muscles we will discuss here, starting from rectus femoris. So rectus femoris, now look here, this is what we have hip bone, this is femur, patella, then what we have tibia and fibula. This is not an anatomical correct diagram, we just drawn it for understanding purpose. Okay, so now let's suppose this iliac crest. Here what we have is anterior superior iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine. Then we have this one acidabulum, this is obturator foramen. Okay, so from the anterior inferior iliac spine, the muscle which we are discussing now is rectus femoris. So let's discuss about origin of rectus femoris. This rectus femoris originates from two parts. Actually it has two heads, straight head and oblique head. No need to remember in that much details, just remember rectus femoris originated from anterior inferior iliac spine and surface over the acetabulum, superior to the acetabulum, that means somewhere here. So it has two heads, straight head and oblique head, like that. So from here origin part. Now about insertion. This what we have is patella. So this rectus femoris runs linearly like this, anterior to this femur, and it will be inserted at the base of patella somewhere here. Okay, so insertion origin is from hip bone, that is from anterior inferior iliac spine, and the surface of hip bone superior to this acetabulum, and insertion is at the base of patella. Okay, so that was about attachments of rectus femoris. Let us draw this muscle now. So origin here, so this muscle fibers will be run like this. Okay, so this muscle, this blue structure is called as rectus femoris. Next muscle what we have is vastus medialis. So this line, this red line, dotted line is called as intratrochanteric line, that can be seen on anterior surface of femur. Okay, this is intratrochanteric line. Just remember this. Here we have linea aspera. This is what we have anterior view, but this linea aspera will be present on posterior side. So don't confuse here. This is actually on the posterior surface. That's why I'm drawing it with dotted line. Okay, so this is posteriorly present. So this vastus medialis, it originates from the inferior part of or inferior end of this intratrochanteric line, one point here. Then from venous on the posterior surface of femur we have linea aspera. So upper 1/3 part of linea aspera also, some fibers arising from upper 1/3 part of linea aspera. Okay, some fibers are also arising from lesser trochanter. So all these fibers join together to form the proper belly of the muscle. Okay, let's suppose this is what we got, the proper belly of muscle. Okay, this muscle. Now this vastus medialis, which muscle? Vastus medialis will get inserted on the base, but medial 1/3 part of the patella. This is what we have, base of patella. This was, let's suppose, lateral part, intermediate part and medial part. So on the medial part of the base of patella, this vastus medialis gets inserted. So this muscle. Okay. Now next muscle, vastus lateralis. Same, just opposite. From the superior part of the intratrochanteric line, then lower part of the greater trochanter, and some fibers from linea aspera. Okay, all these fibers then join together, and then they will run like this, and then they will form the proper belly of the muscle. Okay, which muscle? Vastus lateralis. Now again, you can remember rectus femoris medialis, that means it will end on the middle part. This vastus lateralis, it will end on the lateral part, on the lateral part of lateral 1/3 of base of patella. Actually this rectus femoris covers its insertion point covers lot of base of patella. So we can't say for rectus femoris that insertion is only on the intermediate part of the base of patella. It's actually spread here. This lateral part insertion is only for vastus lateralis, medial part insertion is only for vastus medialis. Now next muscle which we will discuss is vastus intermedius. This is also a linear muscle. It's arising only from the anterior surface of femur. Okay, it's arising from anterior surface of femur at the upper 1/3 part of shaft, below the intratrochanteric line, somewhere here. It what have origin. Its fibers simply runs downward like this, runs downwards, forms the belly, and just gets inserted on the proper middle part of the base of the patella. I can't draw that muscle clearly, but you just understand this. Okay, so that is vastus intermedius muscle. Okay, vastus intermedius muscle. So they all have insertion on the base of patella. Together all these four muscles are called as quadratus femoris. Now one thing, that is ligamentum patelli. Ligamentum patelli. So what is ligamentum patelli? Is nothing but just the extension of this insertion fibers up to the tibial tuberosity. Somewhere here, this is tibial bone. Let's suppose what we have, tibial tuberosity, this point. Okay, this is tibial tuberosity. So these fibers, again, they Actually this will be fibers of tendons. These fibers are of the tendons of this quadratus femoris. They runs downwards and goes up to the tibial tuberosity. So this part only is called as ligamentum patelli. Okay, so don't confuse. These are just the extensions of the insertion parts of this quadratus femoris muscle up to the tibial tuberosity. Next word, that is sesamoid bone. Sesamoid bone. So we know patella is the sesamoid bone. Why we used to call it sesamoid bone? Sesamoid bone is such a bone which grows under the tendon of any muscle. Okay, we have in upper limb like pisiformis, which grows under the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. Similarly, so in upper limb, that is pisiformis is a sesamoid bone. Similarly, here this patella is a sesamoid bone. Why? It grows under the tendon of quadratus femoris muscle. Okay, so you will remember patella is a sesamoid bone because it grows under the tendon of quadratus femoris. This one is MCQ part, quadratus femoris tendon. It grows under the tendon of quadratus femoris. So from here you will understand that sesamoid bone is a bone which grows under the tendon of muscle. Okay, so you will remember patella sesamoid and grows under the tendon of femoris. Quadratus femoris pisiformis grows under the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. Similarly, we have another bone, rider's bone, that we will discuss in adductor compartment. It grows under the tendon of adductor magnus muscle. Okay, so that was here. Now remaining muscle, that is sartorius. Sartorius has other names like longest muscle, we call it Taylor's muscle, and we call it also honeymoon's muscle. So these names you will remember: Taylor's muscle, honeymoon's muscle, or sartorius. Sartorius gets its origin from anterior superior iliac spine. Okay, so let's suppose somewhere here it have anterior, from here it has origin part. It will get inserted to the head of medial surface of head of tibia. So that means somewhere here. So origin of sartorius and insertion. The sartorius is the only muscle in the body which crosses two joints. Here what we have is hip joint, here what we have knee joint. So when these fibers of sartorius from origin, let's suppose this, they will run downwards. Just understand, this is sartorius muscle, longest muscle of the body. Okay, also called as Taylor's muscle, also called as honeymoon's muscle. It will origin from anterior superior iliac spine of hip bone, and then it is inserted on the middle surface of head of tibia here. Okay, so you can see that this is the only muscle in the body which crosses two joints, hip joint and knee joint. So this point also you will remember. So if we will concentrate here on the insertion point of sartorius, this is what we have: head of tibia, or the middle surface of head of tibia. So for this one point is there, important point. Let's suppose this is what we have, head of medial surface of tibia. Here you will remember the insertion of three muscles. One already we know, sartorius, then we have gracilis, and we have semitendinous. Gracilis and semitendinous muscles we will discuss later. Okay, these muscles, three muscles, have insertion in the same place, the medial surface of, or middle part of head of tibia. You will remember. Okay, sartorius, gracilis, and semitendinous. These are the muscles of posterior compartment of thigh, and this sartorius is the muscle of, this is the muscle of anterior compartment of thigh, this is the muscle of medial compartment of the thigh, and this is the muscle of posterior compartment. So from each compartment, anterior compartment, medial compartment, and posterior compartment, there is one muscle which is getting inserted over this point. So this point is very important here. Okay, so now that was about origins and insertions. Here it's not that much difficult to remember this origin insertion. Just when you will draw these diagrams 2 to 3 times, you will understand it very clearly. Okay, next, what about actions now? You know, this sartorius helps in abduction. Abduction, that means the movement of leg away from the, movement of the thigh away from the body, that is abduction at the knee joint. Again, it helps in lateral rotation of thigh. Okay, it helps in lateral rotation of thigh. This about the nerve supply of these muscles. Okay, now so for nerve supply, we knows which nerve is present or which the chief nerve of front of thigh, that is femoral nerve. So whatever muscle present in the front of thigh, sartorius and quadratus femoris muscles, all these muscles are supplied by femoral nerve. So just remember, sartorius is supplied by femoral nerve. We already discussed that point also. Okay, so femoral nerve has anterior division, posterior division. Anterior division gives nerve supply to the sartorius and posterior division gives remaining muscle. So that you will remember. But all muscles are supplied by femoral nerve. In one word, you will remember. For actions, they will do extension at the knee joint and flexion at the hip joint. Okay, but this sartorius has one additional function, that is abduction of thigh. So flexion at hip joint and extension at knee joint. These are the actions of this quadratus femoris muscle and sartorius muscle. Sartorius has one additional action, that is abduction.